Hey there guys, this is Obsidian Chill. Got another video for today. Now, I debated personally making this video. Essentially, this is, as you can kind of see from the title, it's going to revolve around the Eye of the Gemini artifact. And what I thought was a potentially game-breaking issue with it. So I addressed my concerns to the devs first and found out from the dev who's in charge of all the artifacts now that it's intended. So basically, I'm making this video to share it so everyone knows, because I feel I get a lot of criticism saying that people say, oh, you shouldn't speak for the community or shouldn't speak for what the concerns of the players are, and that's right. Like I shouldn't be the single person to dictate how this game plays out. I personally have an issue with how I will explain how this works and impact it has or will have, because I can see that the devs can't see that. So I figured, I'm sure there's plenty of people that already know about it. I'm just putting it out there so everyone knows about it, so that everyone will start to use it, and then they'll start to say, yeah, this probably is really too cheesy and should be changed, because it just, how are we supposed to balance content when you have something like this? So let's just dive into it now. So essentially, it all revolves around the Eye of the Gemini artifact, and specifically Caster's Watch, which is the tank and healer version. So essentially, you already know as a tank or healer, it restores 3% health and 2% supercharge every second. I'll pop it here with Transcendence just so you can kind of see it. Right there, that green field there. As you can see, my supercharge is going up, and that's how the field works. So with Caster's Watch, everyone, the side effect that I didn't realize at the very beginning, I'm sure plenty of people did and just didn't think about how to use it properly, but everyone standing within the radius of Caster's Watch, everyone standing within that green radius, which is still pretty far. So every single player, yourself included, gets a 3% health and 2% supercharge returned every second, and it lasts for 6 seconds. So that's 12% super regen by anyone standing in that field. And that's anyone standing with a tank or healer supercharge. So obviously you don't have as many tanks using supercharges, but now with the Gemini being so powerful, and healers really, most healers use the supercharge anyway, but now healers can restore supercharge to the entire group. So really, nature was pretty much the only healer that didn't really, well, nature and water was the only people that didn't really use the supercharge because it just wasn't necessary. Electric always used it. Sork always used it. Celestial didn't always need sacrifice, but sacrifice is really handy. So I would say every Celestial uses sacrifice. So they were already using their supercharges anyway. But now, when you can pop caster, you can just keep popping supercharge on and then any DPS or any controller standing within this radius will get supercharge back. We'll get 12% supercharge back. So how this plays out is that you can infinitely keep up supercharges between you. So if I'm healing with like an electric healer, so as a Sork healer, I would hit Transcendence, and then when that runs out, the electric healer would hit Group Transducer. So I'm getting supercharge regen 12% from towards my supercharge from the electric healer, and then vice versa. The electric healer is getting supercharge regen from my own and his own circuit breaker. So basically, not to mention any of the controllers or the DPS, but the healers can keep bouncing supercharges between themselves, and that's not to mention the tanks using supercharge, which I'll show you a clip in a second how effective that is. But it's just this game becomes, it's not DC Universe Online anymore. It's DC Supercharge Universe Online or DC Supercharge Online. Like the whole game completely revolves around supercharge, and that's what the devs intended. They intended that all we'd be sharing our supercharge between everyone, and that's why they made it so that the tanks, if a controller or DPS uses it, the tanks and healers get power back, and if the tanks and healers use it, then the DPS and controllers get supercharge back. So that's the synergy they created in their heads, and which is fine on paper, but how it plays out is just, you can pretty much spam supercharges, especially like think if you're a nature bug can spam bug form and just keep powering the group. Tanks can use Pheromone Bloom, which is a 25% supercharge, so like give them heals and give the entire group. You'll see how powerful it is with Jazz Jack in a second here in that clip. So it's just there's so many supercharge options. Flight has perfect poise or front flip. There's so many 25% supers in the game for each power set, or with iconics that have the head mods. So you can just keep having your supercharge up the entire time. So if you've got a tank running Caster's Watch, if you've got a healer's running Caster Watch, you can have an Earth DPS just keep spamming Entomb every 30 seconds. Like every 30 seconds, a DPS can use their supercharge, whether it be Entomb or Bug. Nature Healer or Nature DPS can always keep Wolf up for the entire raid because every 30 seconds he can switch out a Wolf, or every 20 seconds when the buffs expire, because he's got two healers and a tank providing him all the supercharge. So that's where the how powerful this artifact is when was used in unison. So if you have two healers and a tank all with 160 Geminis, and that's why you probably have a tank not using it, and you might not have a healer using it because they may run Orb or Demon Fang or another one. But if you have three people in your group running Caster's Watch, you can keep your entire group powered with Supercharge the entire time. Throne Elite, Crown Elite, doesn't matter. You got three Caster's Watch. Every supercharge they try to use it. And same thing here after a group wipe. Okay, get everyone back up to full super. So it's just how it works out is just way too cheesy for that to work. So it's just so ridiculous because you got like how are you supposed to balance content when DPS can have infinite supercharges? They can just keep using Entomb. Like, well, you probably doesn't work with 100% supers, but any 30 30-second or 5,000 damage supercharge, you can have an Earth DPS keep spamming Entomb. Nature DPS are always refreshing Wolf. You have a DPS use Speed Drain, which is a 25% super. They can have infinite Speed Drains. Just keep popping it every 6 seconds or whenever the healer does it. So it's not about necessarily how powerful supercharges, but also they're getting Pollux's Gaze, which loops all the damage together for 6 seconds. So if you have a group coordinating, you've got two healers alternating with Caster's Watch. You've got all the DPS powering the healers as well. Not like the 2%, 12% power is noticeable as well, but it's still the same thing. They're powering the healers. The healers are giving supercharge to the entire group. The tanks are giving supercharge to the group. As you'll see with dash attack, it's easy to run to the group, pop dash attack, run back to the boss. So it becomes so cheesy, it's just ridiculous. Okay, so this is going to be demonstrating it as a tank, because on live server I'm a healer, so I can't show Pollux's Gaze from a tank's perspective. I'm also Acrobat, so I can't show the advantages of using dash attack. So there's just some test server footage, you can realize that, but as you see, restores 3% health and 2% supercharge every second. When Caster Watch expires, all the allies within it are healed for the amount restored by Caster's Watch. And as I said before, the most important part of Caster's Watch is that it also increases the supercharge for anyone standing within the field. So if I'm using dash attack has the head mod, so you can use supercharged dash attack. I've got the Eye of the Gemini, and I've got the Scrap of the Soul Cloak, so I've got plenty of supercharge. And dash attack is in the super speed iconic right there in super speed mode. Dash attack, preventing damage and control effects. So basically, it's 100% of damage and absorption shield with like a 1 second cooldown. It's actually so cooldown. It's a 1 second cooldown, 2500 or 25% super, 100% absorption shield, and you can't be controlled while you're in dash attack. So essentially, if you're super speed, it's the best tank supercharge you can have in terms of a shield. It's you have to be in, like, say if I went out of movement mode, it's grayed out, so that's why you can't use it the last boss of Crown of Thorns. But as long as you're in movement, you can always use dash attack, and you've got the instant cooldown, low power, low supercharge cost supercharge as a tank. That's also actually decent for you, and being a supercharge. So the essential is look at my supercharge bar. Look at when I use dash attack. I just use Caster's Watch now. That's twice, and look at my supercharge bar from Caster's Watch, from all the head mods and stuff. I've used it twice, and I'm still I still lose only maybe like a centimeter of supercharge bar each time I use it. And like even if say the group's over here fighting and the boss is in this corner, I can hop back quickly, use dash attack to get to the wall. So I'm right here for the wall. I'm not getting supercharged, but the entire group that would be standing right here fighting the boss, like say last boss of like the Throne Elite, is all getting that supercharge. So run out here, pop dash attack, get over here. I'm not getting supercharge. I'm getting like the little bit of supercharge back from the regen, but the entire group just got the supercharge regen over there from me casting it. So it's just, there's so many ways you can use this just to completely cheese and refill the entire supercharge. Like, I've even lost track of how many of these I've used. And I'm still got plenty more. And they even think I wasted one because I hit it twice before the cooldown was up. So I'd have another one anyway. But essentially, I can use this infinitely. I can just keep using it because I'm not weapon regenning. I'm not doing anything to increase my supercharge either. All I'm doing is straight hitting this. Okay, for this example, in DPS stance, I have the Gemini on. Not that it really matters, just to show you that obviously it doesn't matter. I'll put on the Dead King Scepter, so I don't have the Gemini equipped, just to show you that you don't need the Gemini to take advantage of this. Essentially, this is just showing how a support role is able to basically, I can just sit here and he can just refill my supercharge. It could be any healer, it could be any tank using any kind of supercharge, and it's a little bit more powerful with dash attack, which is what Evil Someone's going to be using. And just, remember the text restores 3% health and 2% supercharge every second. When Caster's Watch expires, all the allies within it are healed for the amount of health restored by Caster's Watch. So the most important thing to note is the 2% supercharge every single second is to himself and to every single player within the radius of Caster's Watch. And this is what is making this so OP, is basically a support role, not a controller, just a tank or healer can basically just keep the DPS infinitely powered and supercharged depending on what supercharge setup they use. Okay, so you see my supercharge is at 0. And obviously the radius is not this small, it's just in a corner because of dash attack's movement. So basically, think about this, if you're wiping a raid, if the tank has full super, or not even full super as you're going to see later on, the tank can just sit here at the beginning of your wipe and just restore power supercharge to the entire group. So, if you wipe and all your healers don't have supercharge, or your trollers or your DPS, no problem. Just have the tank use dash attack, or Rage can use Invictive. The tanks can really use Pheromone Bloom or any other supercharge they want. It's just that dash attack is faster because of its 1 second cooldown. But you could have this exact same effect with Pheromone Bloom and other supercharges of restoring the supercharges. Obviously, the dash attack one is so quick. So you can see I've got Soul Cloak, I've got Extended Supercharge on, and I'm at 95% super already. And it's what, it been a minute maybe, if that. So just imagine after you wipe, and now I'm full super. So just imagine after every single wipe you do, the entire group, you could restart the entire run or the entire raid wipe with full super. Like, and this is what's intended. This is what the devs have said is intended with what they want to be able to be used. The entire, and this is not just at the beginning of the wipe, throughout the entire time. So like I said before, the tank can run out and pop this on the group, run back. The healers are obviously going to be with the group the whole time. It's just, it's just crazy how cheesy this is, and that the fact that it's intended.